If you listen to the show, you already know that we cannot exist without our sponsors. They are the ones who make things happen behind the scenes. So let's acknowledge Fuji Sports. We've been working with these guys for a while now, not only as far as this podcast is concerned, but also at the RŌL Academy. We've had their gear. I personally use their gis. What a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I mean, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, MMA, tape, bags, anything you need for your Jiu-Jitsu journey, you can find at fujisports.com.
Let's talk RŌL TV. There's so much content on there. It's ridiculous at this point. But I think what is even more intriguing, as time went on during the project, we've been recording most of the events that were taking place here at RŌL Academy. At this point, I mean, we have guys like Chris Howder, Armin Fati, Rafael Lovato Sr., and Pete the Greek. I mean, there are so many different events that we've kind of recorded it. Don't you think that's amazing? I mean, points of reflection and kind of going back for all the students to see what really happened and refresh their memory.
Yeah, I think it's great, you know, being able to go back and look at all these high-level practitioners, Octavio Cudo, like one of the names you didn't mention. And I mean, just these guys that have been doing this for so long come in, teach these amazing seminars and workshops, and it's all recorded and there for you to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get additional savings on all this, type in code RŌL Radio at the coupon and get additional 30% off of your membership.
Nice. Go to rolacademy.tv. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. That ensures that we can continue bringing you the great guests and amazing content you have come to expect. On this episode, we have the always outspoken and often hilarious Chris Burns. Chris has studied under and alongside many legends of BJJ, including Henry Akins and Rickson Gracie. Today, Chris shares his opinion on living life on the road, self-defense in jiu-jitsu, where jiu-jitsu takes place in terms of contact and distance, and how and who should be instructing jiu-jitsu classes, all with a sense of humor and an extremely rare, refreshing candor. Here's the RŌL Radio with second-degree black belt under Jason Roebig and Rickson Gracie, Chris Burns. And stick around at the end of the episode for something a little special after Chris had some technical difficulties.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live.
Yeah, here we are.
All right, so we've done many new or unique episodes.
Sure.
This probably is going to be one of those.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of.
It's the earliest for our guest.
It's the earliest, definitely.
For the guest.
For the guest.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
definitely
fine.
the earliest. I mean,
I
of
woke
course
up
you
at,
are.
I mean,
It's freaking midday here.
Well, I did get up extra early though today.
Why?
The thunderstorms woke up my daughter, and you know, did you ever have the kid standing next to your bed and you wake up and you're like, what the So that was this morning. She was just standing there looking at me because of the storms.
I'll tell you two stories right now. So first of all, apparently my entire family was up about 4 or 5 a.m. today.
Uh-huh.
I had no clue.
Yeah, look, nice.
I slept through.
Great father, just snoozing away.
I know.
The world's coming down.
The award of Father of the Year goes in here today. But I think this was 2 weeks ago. It's like 5:30 a.m. way before the wake up time, you know. And my 6-year-old is about 3 inches away from my face, and he goes, "Dad, I can't find the Lego." I was like,
sure.
seriously right now? Seriously right now? Why are we talking about, first of all, why are we out of the room? 2, why are we talking about Legos? 2, why are you in my face? Like, what is going on with this?
Yeah, my boy's the same way. He comes in all the time and does stuff like that. And it's just like, dude. And then sometimes he'll come in and he'll just give you like a little kiss on the cheek. And you're like, I can't fucking yell at him for that, right? I can't. No,
you can't. That's a soft spot.
Yeah,
that's questions. Did he do it intentionally?
If he's truly my son, yes, he did it intentionally to get himself out of whatever he did just previous to that.
Chris, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm still asleep.
You're still asleep? This is going to be a fabulous episode. For those of you who don't know, Chris Burns in the house, and it's 4 a.m. 4 a.m. over there? Yeah, thumbs up. 4 a.m. He says that he didn't wake up for us, but I have a feeling there is some truth behind that.
I wouldn't get up for us.
How is that coffee?
Not good enough.
No.
I'm not Jocko. I'm not supposed to be up right now. I'm trying to catch up on what little sleep I can get. I got a 1-year-old, 1.5. So sometimes I'm up at 4, sometimes I'm up at 7, but I'm never up at noon. Fuck. I'm present.
That's all we ask for.
Speaking of fatherhood, right? Those are the highlights. Those are, is that your first one, or do you have more kids?
That is my first one. Yeah.
Oh,
congratulations.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
And welcome to the dark side.
Yeah.
Always injured and always eating leftovers.
That's it.
I'm getting used to it. Don't lift with your back. Like, I don't have a choice. I know why every dad has a hurt back and every dad has like a slight paunch. Like, yeah, no, I'm not letting that food go to waste. And fuck you, I got to pick him up now. So, yeah. And I'm learning as I go.
And the best part about this, then we willingly go to jiu-jitsu and get the crap beat out of each other. There's
no
that's
on my side.
That's your getaway, is to go get choked.
I'd much rather have somebody mauling me than have to wake up to my son just smacking my face, just hitting me. At least I can fight back. Yeah.
All right. Well,
welcome to it. That's it. I'd like to say it gets better.
No, it doesn't.
But I'm not gonna.
No, it doesn't.
I highly fucking doubt
It's amazing.
it. I think if it's my kid.
Yeah, right.
Well,
cool.
Listen, you in Australia, how is everything over there overseas?
Way fucking better than Arizona. Like, I don't want to shit on Arizona for that entire episode. I love the people there, but holy fuck. I was not born to sit in the desert. Sorry. I like surfing. I like dumplings. I like culture. It's nice, getting outside and, not having to walk for 4 hours to see another person. So, I'm happy. I'm happy out here in Sydney, Australia. I just arrived almost a week ago. I'm in an Airbnb right now.
Oh, nice.
So let me ask you this, because we're looking at 12-hour time change essentially, or nearby to it. How is that working? Because that's a big shift just from.
I live in the future. I know what's going to happen. I'm from the future now. I don't know. I've been traveling a lot the past few months. So I'm like in and out of Italy and then back to jet lag is like a perpetual state. Was it Henry Rollins refers to it as a preferred blur?
Uh-huh.
So like it's a preferred blur. Like you get used to it. You actually fucking do. It's weird. I'm enjoying it. I get tired for no reason at random times. Like, oh Jesus, I need a nap. And it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. Like that's not normal. I have to I go and be physical to wake myself up, that kind of thing. But I don't know. Being here is nice. Yeah.
Good for you.
I hope to be there.
Good
someday.
for you. They're good for you. You've traveled most of your life, in and out, here and there, all over. You've been around and about quite a bit. What's the main reason for your travel? Is that desire, or just opportunities in life, or just life is taking you in those directions? Where's that source?
I have no fucking idea. Shit just happens to me. There's no like grand scheme of like, oh man, I really want to go there. Like if it happens, okay, cool. I guess that's what I'm doing this week. But if opportunity, presents itself, I'm not going to say no. That's just too weird to pass up. But yeah, like I was born into a traveling family. It wasn't a military. Everybody always thinks it's military, but it was a credit card family. My father would go around and set up credit card franchises. So I would travel with them, set up a franchise, hit the road, which is weird full circle stuff because that's what I do now. Right. Like I hit the road and I set up a franchise and then I go out and I do another one. So you end up becoming your father.
Don't tell the rest of my family that.
So you're traveling from young age. How is that reflecting on the rest of your life? Does that mean that kind of shape for what you do today, that traveling and kind of relocation becomes easy for you?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It probably sets in a bunch of abandonment issue stuff, therapy things to talk about. But going from town to town and never having any kind of roots, I had roots for random chunks, So I'm happy to settle into a place and be there for like 20 years. But during that 20 years, I kind of go, I'll have like a home base for a little while. Sorry, but I don't necessarily feel like I have a home base right now. Like I'll have one sooner or later, but affecting my life.
What is home
crap
base?
shot.
What is home base to you?
Oh, now it's my family. I have a family. It's
So
nice.
So as long as
as
long as you're with your family, you feel like life is good.
I didn't say good. I know where I belong. my wife and my son make me feel genuinely at home wherever I am, be it like fucking random ass airport or a hotel room somewhere. But coming back and they're there, that's a new thing for me. I enjoy that.
Yeah, you smile as you say it, so it has to feel good.
Yeah, it's all right. they're okay. They tolerate me.
Well, I think we all can relate with that part.
Yeah.
How is the jiu-jitsu life with all of this? So traveling, no having home base, that kind of introduces interesting dynamics.
It's weird because everywhere you go, it's the same shit show. Because like you walk into an academy and you get excited, and then you see them do a forward roll and you're like, they can't even do a warm up. It's fucked. So like I've got really pretentious standards.
Yeah.
But then like, it's great because sometimes like, you walk into an academy and it's beautiful, it's clean, and the people are super polite and happy. And then say, oh, have you ever done jiu-jitsu before? Like, yes, I have. Because it's really nice not being a TikTok douche. Like, nobody knows who I am, so I can walk into anywhere and people are like, oh, have you ever tried this beautiful art named jiu-jitsu? I'm like, oh my God, really? I would love to do a class. Like, so worldwide, it's a wonderful community. It really is. Like I shit on the sport enough, but like when you get to know the people are fucking cool. It's few and far between that you walk into a place and it's just a bunch of asshats. Jiu-jitsu has a tendency to attract people that want to grow and change as a human and become better, etc. So it's nice. It's kind of cool being able to go into it's like going into a biker club and going into another town and going to the same biker club, and you got biker clubs everywhere. And you got, if I ever have to get into a bar fight, I know I got somebody who can actually have my back. It's kind of nice.
So you said that jiu-jitsu is almost the same everywhere. Do you truly find that true? Meaning, no matter where you found yourself around the world, you find that community bond, the love for jiu-jitsu, equal standards? You mentioned a little bit about that.
Not necessarily equal standards, but it like the love of physical contact and community. So those are two things that are kind of lacking in our society. I'm just going deep at 4 a.m. Two of the things that are really lacking in our society these days, because most people spend their day with their head jammed in their fucking phone or sitting on an iPad at 4 a.m. doing podcasts. It's not necessarily like a physical. It's not really like a physical. I'm going to go and get water from the well. Like you don't have to suffer these days. So people have a way of finding how to suffer. Because I think it's a missing part of our lives. There's like community If you didn't have jiu-jitsu, you'd be at a church function or some shit. You know, like you thrive with community. You'd be out there pretending to farm. You know, like, oh, I live in the wilderness and I'm composting now. Like, whatever. You're doing it because there's people and you want to be around people, and that's your thing. So whenever I travel and I go to places, those are the two predominant things: is physical contact and community. So it doesn't matter what you're doing necessarily, because like everybody's doing their own stupid version of jiu-jitsu. You know, it's fucking retarded. Everywhere is doing something weird. But at least they're happy, and that's cool. You know, they got their own little jam, and they're gonna go out and have acai and kombucha afterwards and talk shit. So whatever.
Well, we are creatures of herd, essentially, right? We need to congregate. We need that connections. The human connection is so important to us. I mean,
you do.
Trying.
I quietly have my coffee. I'm gonna watch from over here.
Is there good coffee in Australia?
Yeah. Oh my
nice.
God! Thank God. that being said, first off, I'm drinking 7-Eleven coffee, and it's better than the coffee I was having in Arizona.
Nice.
Yes. It's nice here.
Yeah. Not to jump all over the place, but I was in Arizona once, and the worst part about it was the food.
It was Arizona?
Was there? Yeah. It was like,
it's Arizona.
you know, it's like, this is a great restaurant. Go check it out. And you get there and you're like, oh, this is awful. This is terrible.
This is a great restaurant. Yeah. Go check it out. I spent 4 years dealing with that one sentence. Oh, you got to go to this place and sit down. It's so good. You have no idea. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah. And I don't want to know.
No,
anymore.
all right. I cannot shit on Arizona for an entire episode.
Well, it won't be the entire. We're just going to keep coming back to it. We'll just keep bringing it up.
I've got students there that are so lovely, and they actually love living there. They threw a party for me and my wife before I left, and it was like 9 o'clock at night. It was 100 degrees outside. And I remember one of them saying something like, "Oh, you should go outside. It's so nice right now." I'm like, fuck. Because it was 120 like an hour before. So 100's nice because they don't know what nice is.
Yeah. They've found their suffering
weird.
That we were talking about.
Oh God. Yeah. That's your chosen place. You go for it. I lived there for like half a fucking decade, and that entire time there's a episode of King of the Hill where Bobby says something like, "This is a monument to man's arrogance." this town is a monument to man's arrogance. I can't get that out of my head. Like, it's 120. I could live here. No. Watch. Yeah, all right.
Well, listen, Gary and I, we are laughing, but we are not any better. We are in Chicago, so freaking.
Come see us in February.
The 2 seasons that we have here are just fabulous.
What's it like out there? I think I've passed through there like once.
Well,
I mean, it was lovely when I was there.
Now it's fine. You know, it's in 70s or whatever, but it's 80s or whatever. But, you know, like, we get 2 seasons. It's either hot and humid or freaking snowing and muddy. And it's like, there's nothing.
We get about 2 days of spring. So it goes from winter and then about 2 days of spring, and then it's summer. And then winter hits. There's no fall. Yeah. It's just summer straight.
I'll swap you for a Camp Verde monsoon season.
Now you can keep saying,
don't ask us why we're here.
Yeah, I have relatives that live down south.
We're here because we like doing podcasts at 4 in the morning. That's what we do.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So is jiu-jitsu your current version of suffering since you out of Arizona?
I have a newborn son. There's a different version of suffering here. No, jiu-jitsu is my permanent version of suffering, honestly. But I was in Arizona for jiu-jitsu, and I'm in Sydney for jiu-jitsu. So like once I hit like a certain point in my life, that's my chosen vocation of suffering.
And that often becomes, you know, a common statement or common phrase from a lot of guys who have been training for a very long time. Once you in it for, you know, 4, 5, 6, 8 years, it's kind of hard to get rid of it. It kind of becomes a lifestyle, no matter where you are. Would you agree with that? Traveling all over everywhere.
Well, it's sort of like some people, it's their background music. You know, it's a nice hobby that's kind of there. And some people, it's like a merit badge. You know, like they grew up listening to Joe Rogan and they think they're supposed to do jiu-jitsu. So they kind of show up and they sit on the sidelines and they maybe have a role and then they walk out wearing the jiu-jitsu shirt. Like, all right, cool. So I don't know, man. It's different for everybody. Some people love it and some people live with it. Some people, it's kind of just, you know, it's golf. You know, it's there on the weekends when it's convenient. I don't know. I know people that are like legitimate samurai. And I'm not talking like that douchebag, like, oh, yeah, I do jiu-jitsu. Like, no, dude, I know guys that go into combat and kill people for money. Like, like those are guys that are like, oh, okay, I should probably sharpen my skills today by having someone try and strangle me. You know, like there's legitimate people that fight for money and for a living and for honor. And then there's golfers. And I'm not shitting on golf. My dad plays golf. I fucking hate golf. I don't get it. But like, I see it as like, you know, like it's a beautiful hobby and it gets you outside and you're doing something for some people. And I also see it as like, this is my utilitarian tool. If I like, it's my my third level of defense. Right? I should have 7 levels of defense, and by the 8th level, it's hand-to-hand combat. Like, I know those dudes.
What is
it?
What is it for you?
For me,
Yeah.
At this point in time, it's something that I want to preserve and I want to teach. Not necessarily something, because I live in a beautiful area. Like, this is a nice place to live. I've been through some sketchy shit in my life. I don't necessarily have to worry about, you know, disarming a motherfucker down the street in Bondi Junction. You know, it's not that bad. I just moved here and a friend of mine, he was like, oh, you don't want to move to this area. Ooh, it's rough. I'm like, all right. it's not as rough as you think, but yeah, like I was worried because I have a family, and then I did some checking. It was like, yeah, there's people that like beg for money down the street. I'm like,
oh, that's the rough part. Yeah.
Oh shit! They give you $2 and the fight's over. It's weird. For me, jiu-jitsu is it's a way of helping people. It's a way of kind of helping a community. It's a way of giving some kind of solace and balance back. You know, it's a beautiful hobby. It's golf. Some people dig golf. Some people are here for the art of war. Either way, I got your back. I'd like to be able to help any way I can. It keeps me physical. I'm riddled with injuries. The second I stop doing it, it hurts. So I don't stop. You know, I have to keep going. It's more like recovery.
Is that something new, or that's how you felt about jiu-jitsu your entire life?
No, jiu-jitsu confused the shit out of me when I started. I had no idea what it was or what I was doing. I just knew that it was something that I needed to do. I needed to do something physical and learn how to defend myself. Had to. Like, it was like intrinsic. Like, I was born and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to die. What do I do? And then I had to look around like, oh, well, this seems smart. This is what I'm supposed to do to defend myself. And then I started. I'm like, I have no idea. What am I doing? Because I had no good instruction whatsoever. It's like thrown in the deep end. It was the old school jiu-jitsu, like throw 10 babies in a pool. Like eight of them drown. 2 of them swim. I was a
survival
swimmer.
tactic.
Oh, that's so brutal. It's such a shit way to teach.
So we're talking. Speaking of that, do you remember your very first day, very first time on the?
It was fucking stupid. Yes, I do. It was so shit. The worst.
So what got you? What got you to jiu-jitsu? What got you to that point where you want to try it? Was it you, your parents? Where did it start?
Oh no, not my parents. Oh God, those poor people. It was actually the singer for Tool. I found out that he did jiu-jitsu, and I thought like, oh, he's got his shit together. I want to try that. So I went searching for it, and I did it. That was it.
And so
it was lead by example kind of thing.
when did you learn to swim, I guess?
In jiu-jitsu.
In jiu-jitsu,
yeah. Still struggling. I don't know. It kind of clicked eventually. It made more sense when I started finding better instruction. That's a good way of putting it. I think you can genuinely learn jiu-jitsu if you have a good teacher, not someone that just shows a move without context and expects you to go and drill it and then spar. So I think understanding jiu-jitsu for me, unfortunately, came from kinesthetic, just beatings. It wasn't like a beautiful, like, oh, here, put your hand here, lean into this, and then, fall backwards. No, it was like, ow, 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 fuck. Well, then don't do that. Like, fuck, okay, I won't do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't let him out of your guard. What's a guard? I don't know what's happening. My first lesson was this fucking nut. Well, first off, my real first lesson was I went to judo by accident. I didn't know there was a difference because no one fucking told me. It started with a J and it looked like they were wearing gis and let's fucking do this. I went in there and I was like, I want to say like 16 or 17. And I had just gotten done having parvo. So my body, my body was broken for yeah, it was fucked. My body was fucked for years and years and years. And I was like hundreds of pounds and I was still a smoker at the time. So I ended up going to this judo academy that looked like a fucking Asian dojo kind of thing. Like even the building had bonsai trees and shit outside of it. And I'm standing there waiting for it to open. And the door opens. There's this fat old white guy. He just slides the door open. He's like, well, come on in, mate. It's Australian as shit. I go in there and it was terrible. It was fucking terrible. It was a bunch of people doing their warm-ups and getting upset with me that I was in the way of their warm-ups. Oh, so it was not a very welcoming environment. And then they were like, just fuck off upstairs with the other guy. He'll show you how to do a hip throw and you'll never come back. And I was like, okay. It was a terrible introduction. That's part one. And I said, fuck that shit. I'm not going back there. It wasn't he'll never come back. Like, I'll never come back there. And I did like a decade later. And it was fun because I threw them all around. Fuck them. But I'm vengeful.
It sounds like
I'm never coming back until I'm good.
Right.
Hey? What did you say?
I said, I'm going to stay on your good side.
No, I'm useless. The next one was I finally found a jiu-jitsu club, and the very first class, someone taught me what De La Hiva sweep.
In your first
we
class?
did. It was like, oh yeah. It was gi, it was De La Hiva, and it was I think it wasn't Berimbolo because Berimbolo wasn't a thing yet. It was outside hook, De La Hiva. I know it was shin to shin sweep after De La Hiva, something like that. It was a Mendez Brothers shit show gi thing. It was like you grab the lapel, you pass the lapel, you tie the lapel, you put the lapel underneath, you roll underneath, and now you're on top. I was like, that seems a little excessive, but let's give it a go. So I was not told at all ever when I started, like, this is the sport contextual version of the game of jiu-jitsu. So fuck, that was useless. I still know how to do that sweep to this day too. That's stuck with me like a hemorrhoid. Fuck. The fuck am I ever going to use that for? Ever? Like, you're going to go into competition and you're going to untie his lapel and pass his lapel to your other hand and put your shin in front of his shin and grab the other lapel. Oh, fuck off. Like, I broke every fucking finger learning that stupid ass shit. I used to do finger chin-ups. Not kidding. I used to hang from a gi and hold on with that finger doesn't close anymore. Like I used to do chin-ups off of my fingers to get better at grips, to learn how to fight because I thought that's what I was supposed to do because no one told me don't get punched in the face. Not fucking once. No one. And I had to come to that conclusion on my own. I had to find my own like source of knowledge and then ask an instructor, like, what happens if they punch you? And the answer was like, well, that's illegal. Like, fuck, I'm in the wrong place. So, no, that escalated quick.
But this is eye opening, I think, for a lot of people, because there is
no one
millions.
knows.
Well, because I think there's millions who find themselves in that situation, and either they adapt to what you're talking about, the sport flavor of it, or they quit because it's not for them, and they truly don't find out what the origins of jiu-jitsu really is, and how.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing podcasts, because I keep getting messages from people, because I thought I was alone. I really did. I swear to God, I thought like I'm the only idiot that still cares about combat. No. A lot of people actually started doing jiu-jitsu to defend themselves. A lot. And I keep getting cool messages like, I just saw your podcast. I didn't no, I had no idea. I know that my school teaches like this. What should I do? I'm like, what if I know? Good luck. Right. I'm sorry. Right. I can't help you. Like, I'm trying. I cannot. I'm trying. I'm going to build you a syllabus. I'm going to build classes that are not going to be, it's going to be useful. I swear to God. Once I have this all organized, find a 0 point. Find a 0 point Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. We represent Rickson Gracie. Go in there and learn how to not get punched in the fucking face. And once you've done that, feel free to go to the comp class. Here's your precedent. So, anyways, is it going to be weird if I boil water and make a coffee?
No, you find out. As long as you take your camera with us and you show us how you do it.
How you boil water? Does water boil differently in Australia?
It boils backwards.
Yes, I was gonna. Yes. Can you take the camera into the bathroom and flush the toilet so I can see it go counterclockwise?
It boils counterclockwise. So, let me make sure there's water in that. Yeah, no, sorry.
Don't burn yourself, because that would be.
Yeah, sorry. I went out last night because I'm at an Airbnb. They don't have a coffee maker. They've got instant coffee. So I went and I got a good coffee to microwave in the morning. It turns out one coffee's not enough at 4 a.m.
No, I could have told you.
Learning something new.
That's one piece of instruction I didn't need.
So listen, at which point, when we look at jiu-jitsu evolution in the last 20, 30 years, at which point things have pivoted to the point where this sport flavor, this sport attention became so powerful that supersedes or overwhelms the self-defense and what you are talking about, the original, or however you want to work, however you want to phrase this, whatever label you want to put on this, but this origin of jiu-jitsu.
I feel like this is one of those areas where I'm supposed to tread lightly on how I speak about things.
No, absolutely not. I want you to actually tell me.
Oh, no, I'm thinking about myself. Like, I don't want to... Like, I don't want to cause more shit to deal with. Like,
but look, hold on a second. But didn't you just a moment ago? Didn't you just say, "This is why I'm here. I'm here to make a change." You have a platform.
Fine. All right.
He remembers. He remembers.
How dare you make me speak the truth? I never do that. This fucking. I'm getting my coffee.
Sure.
It's all right. So it's a shit show to begin with. When it comes to the idea of the difference in these two fucking things, I love how Chris puts it. Chris Howder says the whole think something, think the other thing, do the other thing. I always fucking fuck it up. But yeah, it's a really eloquent and sweet way of saying
street sport. Yep.
Yeah, see, eloquent. I'm not. I'm just like fucking.
We had him. Listen, we had him for a seminar here. He pounded this in for literally 2 hours. Okay, it's like a hemorrhoid in my head right now. It's stuck.
He is one of my favorite people. So like when it comes to people, like when you meet Chris, you get Chris.
Oh yeah,
that's what I love. I fucking love
it's
that,
funny
man.
Because when him and I'll pivot this a little bit, but when Chris and I, we were talking about him coming to do the seminar at my academy, I was like, I just don't know what to expect. I know it's going to be good, but you just
He'll punch you in the throat.
Yeah, he
you just don't know where you're gonna guess.
he asked
That's the best part.
he asked our buddy
I
Tim
remember.
to be Azuki. And Tim
Oh,
stepped up
poor
and
Tim.
then, and got smacked really hard. Like the whole room, we all just looked at each other like, shit. And then as soon as
That's
we
the
broke
best part.
to
It's like,
practice.
what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's nothing you're going to do. But as we all broke
Yeah.
to practice, I walked over to Tim and I was like, are you all right, buddy? And he was like, I think he said something like, in for a penny, in for a pound, something like
You got
that.
smacked by a fucking legend, sir.
Yeah, there you go.
You wear it with pride. That's golden right there. I had there's like certain moments in my life. Chris is my friend, and Chris doesn't understand that Chris is Chris. Like there's people out there, they're like, holy fuck, it's Chris fucking Outer. And he's like, yeah, it's Chris fucking Outer. Like there's no version of like, indeed it is, sir. Like, fuck off, man. It's Chris fucking Outer. He's like, yeah, what do you want? With regards to that, like there's certain moments in my life that I never, like, you can't take them away from me. Like Rickson trying to bite my face, that stays with me. Like not many people get to have that. That's mine. Chris Outer punching me in the throat. Like, that's mine. That's mine. That stays with me forever. Tell your friend to wear that shit with pride. Yeah, I fucking love that shit.
So going back, at which point this thing pivoted?
When did this become a fucking shit show?
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, it's not a shit show so much as it's a different thing. And I know people want to say that it's the same thing and that it's evolved and you just need to stay with the times and you have no idea. Like, there's a huge fucking difference. There really is. There's mini golf and then there's golf. Like, oh God, it's a poor metaphor. Fuck me. All right. So there's got to be something else. There has to be. Because yes, I understand the huge similarities between the sport of jiu-jitsu and actual fucking combat. But if you ask let's ask a military veteran and let's ask some ding dong who won 80 cc's. Like, great. That's fucking fantastic. But then you got this guy over here who's saying like, well, I really needed to learn this so I could make sure I don't get stabbed in the neck. Like you got the one guy over here going, oh, well, I enjoy this. It's a fantastic hobby. It keeps me physical. I got a great deal on HGH from my friend. And then you got the other guy that's like, I need to stop someone from getting to my battle belt. There's two very separate things. And you can play in the middle, like Chris says. You can have your little like playtime and get weird with it. But some people are in it for this. Some people are in it for that. I feel like the people that were in it for this were originally in it for that, right? They came there to learn how to defend themselves. I still haven't met anybody who started doing jiu-jitsu as a sport, right? Not one. I've met people that say that they did, but then when they think back about it, they started doing martial arts to learn how to defend themselves. Or, like their parents put them into karate when they were a kid and they just were in the area for long enough to where someone said, try jiu-jitsu. The art of grappling was always a form of self-defense, right? And then self-defense became a game, and the game could make money. So I think money is kind of where it took a turn, like the ability to find funding for something. Like if the government's going to fund it, how are they going to fund it? Well, they'll give you money if you make it into a sport that pulls people in. And then it becomes not necessarily watered down so much as contextual, like you can't, it's hard pressed to find a jiu-jitsu person who isn't at least tough, just because you do sport doesn't mean you're not going to be good at fighting. Like you could probably take a shoulder in the face, but there's a huge difference personally. Getting punched in the face while rolling changes things, whether you want to think so or not.
So do you think that this change took place because of the culture and its evolution, or more of a rules of engagement? Because we can look at this two different ways. We can look at it, sport is more entertaining, quote unquote, brings more money, generates more revenue, right? And as a result of it, there are people who can make money and they can live. Or two, we can look at it from a perspective of rules have changed, meaning now we are more quote unquote safer environment where nobody's punching them in the face, there's no eye gouging, there is no stabbing, all the other things.
All right, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I do agree completely. The idea of sport, when you have the sport of jiu-jitsu, no eye gouging, no punching, it's much safer, etc. It becomes a game, and the game becomes a puzzle box. It's a physical puzzle box.
Yeah.
You're like, how do I do this? How do I do that? That's fantastic, and there's nothing against that. That's cool. But contextually, it's not the same as what I care about. So what I care about mostly, what's weird is this middle ground between what Rickson teaches and what the sport has become. Like you'll hear on, there's an episode of Joe Rogan where Joe's talking to Rickson, and Rickson's watching the UFC. And he says something vague like, God, I don't want to misquote it. It's hard not to misquote Rickson because it's like broken words. It was like, there's too much distance. That's a thing. That's a real thing. So for jiu-jitsu to be effective, distance has to be managed, you know? So the weird thing when Rickson's teaching a move, if the distance is not managed, it's just two people scrambling around and the athlete will catch the submission, right? As opposed to jiu-jitsu is about leverage and connection. If I take away the space being taken away, that's where the jiu-jitsu is. Right? As opposed to scrambling for submission. Move. Submission is a move. Jiu-jitsu is me stopping you from scrambling around looking for a move as I apply a move. I'm trying to find the right words to edify this, you know? Like I'm breaking down all these classes and I'm having to write them out right now. So eventually it'll make more sense when I open my fucking mouth. But for now, the difference between the sport is right now, people kind of disconnected and scrambling and looking for submissions and then going underneath and looking for submissions and then going at the top, looking for submissions. It's this, well, I don't know how to put it, but it's not exactly what I care about.
So correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying is that sport would be viewed as more of a hunting a submission or hunting the jiu-jitsu versus what you're referring to, what you talk about, or versus what Rickson is talking about is jiu-jitsu is that space once you regain the control, once you are in charge, once you remove the space.
Okay, it's a distant. Jiu-jitsu is self-defense, so it's not self-offense. It's self-defense. It's distance management. Yeah. So the entire idea when jiu-jitsu was created was the fact that you're bigger and stronger and you're going to punch me in the face. If I'm too far away, you can't punch me in the face. If I'm too close, you can't punch me in the face. Yep. If I put you on the ground and I'm on top of you, now it's harder for you to punch me in the face, easier for me to punch you in the face. It is cheating. It's learning how to cheat and defend yourself. That's originally where it came from. Now, it also came from a whole bunch of different little offshoots. Like I'm in the middle of doing a history book with some friends. It has been presented in multiple ways, and it has been taught in a million ways. What I'm fond of is Rickson's viewpoint of jiu-jitsu, and it's mostly distance management to begin with. Because jiu-jitsu doesn't happen out here, you know, and it doesn't happen here. It's there, and then it's there. That middle ground is where things can get really bad, right? That kind of two hands distance of scramble. That's where things can be used against you, right? I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with the sport of jiu-jitsu, but the sport of jiu-jitsu has no necessary distance management. It's more about puzzle-solving skills with athleticism. And I don't see that as a bad thing because you're going to come up with all kinds of interesting stuff. My job is to take your 500 interesting things and show you one really good thing. I don't need to know 500 fucking things. I need to know like 4 things. I need to know weight distribution. I need to understand distance management, base, and the middle. So when I say that vague word base, like when somebody yells at like, get your base is an equal weight distribution of all ankles, right? It's not just like sit up straight. Like if I can understand base from the guard, 90% of guards don't exist anymore. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if I can understand distance management, 99% of half guard doesn't exist anymore. You get what I mean? Like one good elbow in the bridge of the nose makes half guard and knee shield not really fun.
No.
And all of a sudden you're not doing that position anymore. So it's this pared down utilitarian, like it's McMap of jiu-jitsu. You know, it's the user's manual of violence. That's what I care about way more, because I think that's where the art is, like that underlying current of what the art was and should be, versus the phone book that's on top of it of really cool, fun stuff. And we're wearing tights.
Well, the tights would make it cool, okay? But
oh,
listen.
for fuck's sake. Yeah, I didn't get into this to wear tights and roll around on the floor. Sorry.
But
it's
listen,
like, do you believe in gi or no gi? Like,
but listen, there's thousands of people listening to it right now, and some of them will say,
oh
Chris,
shit.
Yeah.
Chris, you are out of your fucking mind. You are talking about the most boring stuff in the world. I'm here to be cool, to do cool stuff, to invert, to do flying triangles and do some cool ass chokes. This is what
And
I
you never
signed
broke
up
your
for.
spine, did you? You break your spine and call me back, you little fuck.
I think is that an age thing? Is like the generation?
No, I broke my spine when I was like 19.
No, not the broken spine. I'm talking about the guys that it's a generational mindset thing where the younger people coming into it, probably because what they've been exposed to is the sport, right? The hunting for submissions, where maybe some older people are looking for more of the real self-defense.
They don't know what they don't fucking know. That's the problem. You walk into an academy and the guy goes, "This is the #1 self-defense in the world. Come and join us." And then he fucking inverts. Like, no, that's not self-defense, you fucking retard. That is not how this is done. When you go upside down to achieve something and I can gently lean on you and pop a disc out of your spine, that is not self-defense. That is you looking really cool to get more fucking students in your door. Shut up. That is not a goddamn thing. I don't necessarily care about the sport. Go ahead, have fun with the sport. I think that's what I was saying before, is that I get messages from people saying like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that." But, fuck, no one says it. I don't have to like what you like. That's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Just because you really want to listen to Taylor Swift doesn't mean I have to. I love Taylor Swift. It's fantastic. She's getting fucking shifty with it. There's whatever it is. It doesn't have to be my cup of tea, and we don't have to be enemies. It's fucking retarded. You do you. Enjoy yourself. I'm going to be over here doing the old man shit. And that old man shit, I've seen this happen so many times in so many places. I remember the very first club that I was a part of, all the older guys would be absolutely devastated if somebody did a berimbolo. They're like, "Oh, that's fucking bullshit. Oh, this new jiu-jitsu crap. Oh, it won't work on me." They didn't state one time, like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that in a fight." Not once did they say that. They say, "Oh, yeah, no, it's bullshit." That's all they ever said. So I didn't understand why it was bullshit. And then I would see them in a bar fight, like later that week. Like, "Oh, that's why that's bullshit." Okay. Because you grabbed that guy's head and you smashed it into the side of that bar. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, they're here to fight. Those guys are here for the sport because they've been listening to Joe Rogan's podcast and they're very excited about the new Marcelo Garcia online. And this is way back in the day, by the way. This is back when the Joe Rogan thing was new. You know, like they found that podcast and then they found Marcelo Garcia online and they're watching Marcelo and they're doing this and they're bringing it back to this club because this club taught nothing. It was terrible. It was just a fucking fight club. And all of a sudden they started bringing moves in from other places. I love when old guys see new stuff and shit on it because it's new. It's fucking brutal. Like, it doesn't matter if it's good. It's just like, I never would have done that in my day. Like, no, you wouldn't have. No, you fucking wouldn't have, because you don't know what you're doing to begin with. Shut up. So, there's beautiful things. Like, Rickson showed me Crohn's guillotine, and I was practicing Crohn's, and he was like, "Which one?" I said, "Which one do you want me to do?" He's like, "Jiu-Jitsu evolves, man. Crohn's got a really good guillotine." I'm like, I think that was my answer. I think I'm supposed to do Crohn's guillotine instead of the old school guillotine. I think that was kind of sort of what he told me, but he didn't tell me. But we were just talking about the evolution of jiu-jitsu and how the playful aspect of jiu-jitsu is where things get created, you know, so I can't shit on it that much. Sooner or later, I have to backpedal and say, like, yeah, man, you should be able to play jiu-jitsu. But I feel like it's being played so fucking dumb that everything that's getting created now is really useless in the long run. You know, like Crone doing a variation on a guillotine, that's interesting to me. You know, like who was it? That Musi Michi kid or whatever.
Yeah.
He has a leg lock. Yeah. So I'm old. I don't know anything new yet. One of my students, he was like, have you seen this leg lock? And I was like, oh, first off, fuck you for showing me a leg lock. I was captain fucking leg lock for like a decade, and then it became like super cool. So now I'm this hipster of leg locks because I don't fucking do them anymore. Like distance management will not allow you. Fuck you. Meanwhile, like obsession with corkscrew heel hooks and shit. Yeah. So anyways, one of them showed me that Mikey lock or something like that. I was like, that works great, but I can reach your face. But then he did it, and I was like, oh, I'm not reaching your face in time. That's some shit right there. So, man, there's tons of stuff I want to learn from newer people, you know, but if I can punch you in the face, probably not going to pay attention to it.
Chris, all of this starts with an instructor. I mean, we kind of mentioned this multiple times, you know. I mean, this is when brand new people come into the academy, they start learning, they start reaching out or, you know, dipping into jiu-jitsu or self-defense. It all starts with an instructor. How do you feel about quality of teaching? Whether it's sport, whether it, but I want, hold on. Before you destroy me and just the wave of Chris comes over me, regardless of sport or self-defense, I'm talking about the quality of instruction, not quality of jiu-jitsu, okay? I want to be specific on this. Go. I'm putting helmet on.
Oh, the wave of jiu-jitsu. Dude, when you want to teach something, you have to know something. That's important. First off, when you know a series of fucking submissions, that's not knowing jiu-jitsu. So the best version of teaching jiu-jitsu that I have ever personally come across was Gracie University. Shut up. The presentation skills are impeccable. So if you're going to teach something, Pedro Sauer put it like when Pedro told me about this, because Pedro was like, you got to talk to Henrik. This is the best way to teach. It fucking is. So you're going to have people that are going to be reinventing this wheel for like generations to come, right? The edification and dissemination of this martial art is imperative upon context. So when you walk into an academy on your first day and someone shows you how to do a Delihiva shin fucking sweep, and they don't tell you anything about it, first off, you have an attrition rate that's just disgusting. You know, people that walk into the door and they do this and they go, not for me, I'm out. And they're going to go down street to the boxing academy and they're going to learn a lot more about fighting at the boxing academy than they would have in that class. First off, when you go into an academy and the very first thing that they talk about is managing distance to manage the damage, you came to the right place, right? So how something is taught has to be very contextual, and that's important to me. So if you come into a classroom and I am teaching the competition class, first off, how did you get into my classroom? There should have been a barrier of some kind. You know, like if you went into a chess tournament and you've never played chess before, what the shit, dude? And you just go out there and you start moving pieces like, checkmate. and the guy on the other side is like, how did you get in the room? First off, you shouldn't be in the fucking room. You should have to qualify to be in that room. But this is America. I want to do what I want now. Fuck you, you fucking dipshit. You don't get to do what you want. It doesn't work like that. You can go down the street and you can wrestle fuck all you want over at such and such's gym. And you can go and do your sport class. And you can blow out your spine and you can pop an anacostal trying to throw a fucking 200-pound white belt off of you. Or here's your introductory course. You have to make it through these 10 classes, and I'd like you to do them 4 times before you come into the essential course. Once you've gone through the essentials course, you're welcome to go into fucking chess tournament land. Now you know how to break fall. Now you know how to tap when something happens. Now you know how to not. How you present jiu-jitsu is so goddamned important to me because I experienced nothing but anarchy. It was fucking brutal. I think jiu-jitsu is very important, and I think it should be shared with the world because it can just as easily be yoga for some people as it is warfare for others if you teach it properly, right? So you can have the sport and you can have the combat as long as you understand that when you walk in the door, it's not, it's a little bit of both. Like, no, it's not. First off, it's not. We need to go through some basics first, and then we'll talk about what version you're interested in doing the most. So the best way I ever saw it presented was Gracie University. I don't care much for a lot of it. And I do care greatly for how much effort they've put into presenting it properly and making it available to everyone, not just athletes, if that makes sense without making too many enemies.
Do you feel that being a good instructor is very different than being good at jiu-jitsu?
Oh, fuck yes. Man, I've met some of the best fucking athletes and I've trained with them and they can't tell you how to tie their fucking shoes. I'm not kidding. They're dumb as a board. Some of the best fighters are like it's a fire hydrant that speaks. Fuck. It's intrinsic. They were born for combat. And it's like, bang, break now. Like, fuck, shit. Like, the beauty of jiu-jitsu is the ability for me to survive that fucking potato that's trying to murder, right? There's a beautiful part of this. Meanwhile, like, just because you can doesn't mean you can teach, because teaching is a skill. It really is. There's stage presence that keeps people interested. That's salesmanship, right? Meanwhile, there's the ability to put things systematically, like John Donahue. Like when he teaches something, it's slice by slice by slice. But stage presence, oh no. No offense.
No.
Like I use him to fall fucking asleep.
Yeah.
Like there's a middle ground, you know. I am very adamant about contextualization and presentation and how something is built upon. There's a term for it that I'm forgetting right now, but it's not guided discovery. It's the other one. It's like 5 a.m. How you show something should be progressive. It shouldn't just be, here's a move. Pedro Sauer, when he was telling me, he used a metaphor from Henner, and he was saying something along the lines of like, imagine you went to college and you did, trigonometry, and then you did social studies, and then you did PE, and you started naming different classes. And they said at the end of the week, you have a test, and the test is on cooking. And you're like, wait, what? Like, that's how most clubs run, Most clubs today, you walk in the door and they're very sweet and they're kind, they're congenial. Like, okay, welcome to the club. Let's do our thing. We're going to do the warm up. And then they put on some fucking music and they start jogging around, and the warm up has nothing to do with what they're doing. And next thing you know, that's another thing for me is like a warm up. Like, okay, great. So I'm doing like random stretches in calisthenics for something that I have no idea what I'm about to do. And then that warm up had nothing to do with what I learned that day. Fuck. Anyways, it's one of those things where like, yeah, cool. We're going to study math for a month to do this science test. Awesome. I think a club can be streamlined, and I think it should be useful. And I think an instructor should be taught how to teach, because you have different kinds of students. You have physical, you have verbal, and you have visual. And if you don't display all of these things in all these ways, and if you don't dumb it down as much as possible and then over explain it and then dumb it down again, it's very hard for that student to take this and shove it in their brain hole. Like, not everyone's a fucking genius. Not everyone's a rogue scholar. Like, some people came in there like after 9 hours of shit, and they're like, all right, I'm going to go in. I'm going to do this jiu-jitsu thing because I read a fucking Stoic quote online and I got to suffer. Like, cool, man. You do you.
Yes.
And then they come in there and they're showing like a 20-step matrix guard and they think that they're doing something useful with their fucking life. Context is so fucking important, man. So, yeah, I mean, if you have a sport club and you explain the sport every class, fuck yeah, dude. Contextually, you have a 7-minute bracket to get this done. And you shouldn't grab the belt here. You should pull here. And if the belt comes off, you're going to have to rely on that timeout. That timeout is good for you to catch your breath, and they're going to tie their belt back up. Dude, if you're going to do it, don't lie about it. That's what I think. If you're going to do sport, you teach sport. And you don't fucking like, this is the greatest self-defense in the world. And no, like, if you're going to teach it like you fucking mean it, dude. Go for it. I got your back on that one. But yeah, if you're going to teach, God, don't just show something you saw on YouTube and then let your students hurt each other. That's some fucking rookie-ass garage bullshit. That's so depressing when I have a student that goes to another academy, because I implore my students to go to other academies. That way they can deal with stupid things more often. You know, like, I don't know what he did, man, but he did this weird shit. What do? I was like, lean left and fall on him. Like, I don't have to teach a class on that. You know, you can go over there and learn that stupid shit and I'll fix it over here. But when they go over there and they go, sorry, coach, I'll be back in 6 months. My ACL got torn off. How? Oh, we were doing striking class and the guy that I was striking with decided that I was striking better than him. So he pulled a takedown and he snapped my knee. I wasn't expecting it because we were striking. Fuck's sake. What kind of rookie ass shit is this? You know, that's how you run an academy. The black belt's upset because someone's out striking them. So they jump guard while you're doing the striking class to prove a point. That's where most schools are. And you don't see it. Well, not you, like people in general don't see a difference because you don't know. You don't know that there's a difference.
Absolutely.
It's a 50-50 crap shot of walking in and getting injured. It always goddamn is, you know? But at least you know when you go into a Gracie University, you're not going to like limp home. You're probably not going to get injured on your first day. I respect that. Like, I don't teach that curriculum. I respect the way that they run their academy greatly. I think people could take a fucking note from that book. I'm not talking about salesmanship. I'm talking about presentation and preservation.
Yeah. So if everything boils down to the way how we teach, not necessarily what we teach, but the way how we teach, the presentations, the safety, the management of the class and so on, and just, you know, making sure that they are getting what they are getting, but yet there is nobody to show us how to do this. How the hell in the world 99% of jiu-jitsu instructors are supposed to do this?
There's 99% of jiu-jitsu instructors not supposed to do this. Like, sorry, you.
Thank you.
Fuck you. Fuck a bunch of you assholes. You're out there just, I'm spreading the art. No, you're not. You're spreading fucking staph and injuries. You're a fucking cunt. This is horseshit. You should not have a club. Okay, so first off, if you decided that you were going to be in physics, you know, like I'm going to learn how to, like, I don't know, just pick fucking anything. I don't know. You're going to do woodworking. I'm going to build chairs for a living. And then you just start buying equipment and just making shit. That's going to take a long time to figure out that shit. It's going to take a really long time. And you're probably going to cut your thumb off while you're doing it. Or you could go to a professional who knows what they're doing and has learned all these ways to cut that time in half to teach you something and show you how to not cut your fucking thumb off. I think, well, that's where it comes down to like quality as well. Yeah. So that's fucked. It's a shitty conversation because, you know, like if I want to eat really good brisket, I'm not going to go to McDonald's. You know, I'm going to look for that smokestack on the horizon and go to that guy's backyard. So sometimes you're going to find a fucking pot of gold by accident. You know, if you walk into an academy and it's this random, it's like 4 sweaty dudes that have fucked up ears, and one of them shows you this really cool fucking thing. Cool, you got a really good brisket sandwich by accident, you know? Meanwhile, you could have just died. So it's up to you whether you want to do it or not, but quality management is really hard to come by in our field.
But at the same
Our
time,
field is,
but listen, at the same time, if you don't know what you're looking for, how the hell do you know quality is quality? I mean, like, digging deeper into this, like, how do you select an academy that's good? I mean, you're talking about some extremely important stuff. And I know it myself. Like, there is, you know, even a drivable distance, not whatever, Chicago distance here. There's some good academies, and there are some, well, it is what it is. And people still
it is what it is.
Yeah. So how do you select
people
one?
still, all right. So people still attend it because they became friends with people. That's what happened. And you just keep showing up. Dude, I was in the worst academy for like 7 years just because it was family. You know, like, and I was told like at the time, like, oh, you don't train anywhere else. You know, and I was like, oh, I don't train anywhere else. Meanwhile, they were all training everywhere else. Like, no, you don't want to be a crayange. And then one of them would do like one of them would do an electric chair. I'm like, the fuck was that? Nobody's ever shown me that. I was like, oh, I'll never show you. Like, ooh, fuck. So like, I don't think you can. And I think like, just because it has branding doesn't mean it's good, you know? Because I've been to a million Gracie schools, and oh shit, just because it has Gracie in the title doesn't make it a good school. And you could do the same thing with 10th Planet. You can go to a 10th Planet school and it's amazing, but you could go to another hot box down the road and it's a fucking nightmare. Like, it depends on the instructor. So I'm assuming, I think if you had to have a quality control test to go to an academy, I think that would be good. So if I could give anyone pointers, I would say, if you're going to start jiu-jitsu, don't go to your local academy and go, this is my academy. I would suggest doing some research and going around from place to place, like hunting for a house. You know, you want to go and check out which place you want to deal with. Yeah, shop around. So when you shop around, there's some very important guidelines. And, you know, like if they have loyalty, family, discipline, like it's plastered on the wall, probably leave. That's just personal experience. Anytime that somebody's like, loyalty and family is number one, like, no, that's your paycheck. I'm good. I'll see you later. But you don't want students to leave. I would look for a clean facility. I would look for a clean facility that has beginners instruction classes. That's the most important part. I wouldn't say, let's say beginners class. Okay. Let's clear that one up. Beginners class, there shouldn't be sparring. You know, I would stick around and watch a beginners class. When you have a beginners class, you go, okay, this is the guard choke. Okay, spar. Okay, not my club. I'm going to go down the street. I'm going to try this class. Okay, this is the beginners class. This is how we fall over. This is how to do a break fall, and this is how to stand up after you fall over. Let's try that for a little while. Okay, you got my attention. I think that should be number one. I think number one should be safety first, learning how to not get injured while learning something. I think cleanliness, presentation skills, listening to the instructor teach. You know, they're throwing out too many dick jokes for your liking, probably go down the street. Meanwhile, you know, if it's Howder yelling at you and you love it, fucking A, man, you found your club. Every person's different. Every person wants to learn things the way they want to learn things, you know? But I think safety and presentation skills should be what you look for, and cleanliness should be what you're looking for to begin with. After that, you know, you can decide on what you want to learn.
There you go. You're dropping a lot of knowledge, a lot of golden nuggets here. I mean, especially for those. Okay. Hey, listen, you know, that coffee's working. Whatever you're drinking, it's working. Whatever that
just show up on time and don't be a dick. That's as hard as it has to be. If you want to be a good instructor, show up on fucking time.
You have
and
no
don't be
idea.
An asshole.
You have no idea. And this is the unfortunate part of it, is how many times we hear, and Gary can speak on this more, how many people come down knocking on our doors and saying, hey, listen, I was somewhere else and the instructor didn't show up. I mean, I don't even understand.
My
I
two favorite
can't even
stories.
comprehend that. Like that doesn't. My mind doesn't wrap
Right.
around.
My
this.
two favorite stories are I showed up for
I tell you
class. I
what.
looked in the window and the mats were gone. That's one. And then the other one is he showed. So we had a guy that was a member here, and he moved pretty far away, but his membership was still active. So he was trying out schools in his area. And he came back and told me that the instructor showed a move and then walked to the other side of the academy to play with a drone while everybody else was drilling. And I was like, holy shit. Like that's
Maybe
Wow.
he was filming students to see the different angle.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, so that's, I mean, it's insane.
Man,
what's out
all
there.
right. So I hate to,
You got better
harp
one.
on this, but no, fuck, man.
I was waiting.
Jesus
I was waiting for you to
Christ.
level that.
Dude, I had an instructor that refused to wear underwear for a while. It's like, I don't. I just let his dick flop around while he's rolling with people. I don't remember his justification. There's a lot to this. Like, depending on where you go, there's some. Fuck my life. Mostly. This is why I don't go to other academies a lot. I just run my own. I had a friend send me this lovely message, like, he just got to Sydney. Where will you be training? I'm like, fuck you. I will be running my schools. Thank you. I'm going to tell my schools how they run. I'm not going to be going somewhere and have someone teach me something fucking like, I'm fine. I'll go and ask Hickson a question when I feel like it. He's given me enough to play with for a while. I don't necessarily need to go and learn how to pass K-guard this month. So, like, where will you be training? Fucking not there. I'm not going to be training anywhere. I will be running an academy. Thank you very much. But like going to all these academies and just kind of getting to know the people in the area, they're like the sweetest fucking people and they have the best intentions. But then you see how they present things. And you're like, oh yeah, competition. I'm going to go ahead and start my club way the fuck over there now. Yeah, like I could give a million fucking stories. One of them was like there was an instructor at one of the academies that was a very big name competitor. And I remember distinctly him teaching classes, and he would show one move to a room filled with people because they were excited that he was like a world champion. Like, he's going to show us how to do shit. And he would just like vaguely show something. And then he would sit on Facebook in the corner over by a boxing bag that broke and fell down and was like half like bent on the wall. So he was sitting next to this thing on the wall, and gets better. So like he just kind of sits there and on Facebook and does nothing and then fucks off. At one point he went to go and compete somewhere, and someone took his shoes and put them by the boxing bag and took a hat and put it on the boxing bag and just like was like, that's our coach.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's hard at work. I fucking love that. Like, even the students, like, we're making fun of this guy. And I say, yeah, man, he might be really good at stuff. Holy shit, he does not care about anyone in this room whatsoever. I think that's another thing for an instructor, is to actually give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because that's hard to come by. You've got a lot of guys where this is their hobby and this is their passion. And then they come in. I remember working at a club recently, and the guy who owned the club was always out of town. He's always doing this thing. And he hired me to run his club. And he would be there for a class, and he'd be like shitty about the class. Like, oh God, we're doing this again. And then, it was like, okay, cool. You're in town. How about you run a class? It's a 1 hour structure. I don't want you to show a move and just let them do their thing. They're used to doing this. I want a 10-minute warm up. I want a whole class. I want this, 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 and this. And he went out there, and at the end of it, he like gave me a hug and apologized. And he said, I had no idea how tough your job is. I was like, no shit. No shit. Turns out when you're not just here to roll around for yourself and you're concentrating on somebody else's well-being, it's a job. It's a chosen vocation kind of thing. Not a lot of people get that.
Empathy is a big part of it. Simple as that. You got to.
I have none.
We noticed
none whatsoever.
Yeah.
We noticed, but
just because he cares doesn't mean he's empathetic.
No. I care, but I care for me.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Very selfish.
Yeah. You don't want to look like shit.
Oh,
we get it.
Dude, yeah. My empathy is selfish.
But it's essentially, listen, like we've talked to so many people at this point, on this show, and it kind of boils down to these three categories, three brackets. Like, knowing jiu-jitsu is one thing, knowing how to teach jiu-jitsu is another, but knowing how to run a jiu-jitsu academy, that's completely a third and separate component, which we barely touched on during this
worst part is business.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so business is different. So you have a competitor, you have an instructor, and you have a business fucking owner who
Yeah.
runs academies and knows
Yeah.
how to run an academy.
Yeah.
There's a huge fucking difference.
Oh, no
For
kidding.
one, the ding dong over here knows how to compete because that's all he does.
Yep.
That's all he does. Okay. So here's instructor guy. Instructor guy, he only knows how to instruct. No. He has to know how to fight. He has to know how to run a business. He has to be the middle ground between both of those skills. That's fucking annoying as shit because I didn't go to school to learn how to run a business and I didn't go to competition to learn how to compete full time. So you have to find a middle ground on that one. That's where interdependence becomes so unbelievably important. So knowing what you don't know is it's a valuable life skill. Not going into a room where you're like, I've got street fight experience, and going into a business and going like, I know how to run a business. Don't be a dick on either end of that. First off, you don't know how to fight. You've always got room to learn. Second off, you don't know how to run a business. Shut up. You've never run a business before. Learn. So I've got friends that have gone into both way too hard. They're doing like business seminars and shit instead of jiu-jitsu, and then jiu-jitsu shit instead of business seminars. There's a good middle ground where you can find people that know what they're doing and show you how to run a business. Like with when you schedule classes, it's important to have what's known as an X pattern. Do you know what that is?
Tell everybody who doesn't.
I don't know. I don't fucking know, but it works. I have no idea what an X pattern is, and I can't explain it to anybody. All I know is that this class time structures with this class time, this class time, this class time, and they interchange. So when it's like someone saying, like, how do you do a bear and bull? I don't know. I just end up on his back. It's fucking awesome. No, I don't have to know that part. I have to have a partner who knows that part, you know? And that's important to understand. Like, if you want to do jujitsu and be competitive and make money being a competitor, that's possible. Meanwhile, if you want to run a jiu-jitsu academy, there's a way to do it without making it a McDojo, you know? And that's my relentless pursuit right now, is finding a way to make an academy that teaches jiu-jitsu, but I don't have to curtail to other martial arts to keep the door open. Yeah. And I'm not shitting on other martial arts. I think another martial arts school should have its school. I don't think I should put 20 martial arts into one school to fit the need of all these people. Also, there's like little tricks of the trade. Like if you want to make a jiu-jitsu academy, call it a martial arts academy. Call it a self-defense academy, because more people are going to know what self-defense and martial arts are than jiu-jitsu. So you're going to have more walk-in, and you're going to have more people coming in for a trial class, and then et cetera. Like that's the shit that doesn't necessarily, you know, make me excited for my day, but I know it's important. It's like warm-ups for purple belts. They're not excited. They know it's important, but they're not showing up.
Yet to find one who would be.
Oh God. It's I thought it was a joke, but no, when you hit purple, you stop giving a shit.
It's fucked. Thing. And it's funny, you know, like I make fun of some of my students because like the moment they get the purple belt, it's like a switch turns on. Boom, they're gone. They 10 minutes late every single freaking class.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I got this, coach. I warmed up in the car park. I got this.
Yeah.
No, like, all right. So I'm very anal about my warm-ups. Like, the warm-up itself is the class. If you ever do a class with me one day, like everything that I showed in the warm-up is jiu-jitsu. And that's huge with Rickson, that people don't know that. My goal in life is to be able to show people what Rickson is, because it's so hard to understand. So fucking hard to understand. But every single, and it's actually not. It's pretty fucking easy when you get it down into English. But the warm-up for the class,
somebody told me, kind of interjecting here for a second before I forget, somebody told me, made this phrase or make this comment to me like years ago, that jiu-jitsu is not hard. It's actually easy, but it's complex.
Oh, dude.
Would you agree with that?
I think it is. It's perfect until people get involved. I think it's one of the easiest things in the fucking world to learn if it is taught that way. What people have a tendency to do is make it more complicated than it needs to be to look smarter than they really are. It's a lot fucking easier than you want it to be. Like, are you guys instructors?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Black belts?
Yes.
Okay. So when you bend something, it breaks, right?
Yeah.
That's not hard.
Yeah.
So what's the most efficient way to bend this thing to break it? That's as hard as this needs to be, right? So if we make this as overly complicated as possible, there's a tendency for us to go down like this ultimate wank hole to where it's like the fucking Radiohead album thing. I think I've said it a few times. Like the first two were golden, you know, and then everything after that was Tom York jerking off in a closet. Like it didn't have to be that fucking weird. Like it really didn't. Like those first two were golden. It was perfect. When you show jujitsu, it can be efficient and it can be very simple. But when you have a student go like, yeah, but I know that variation. Can you teach me the flippity flop variation? Like, all right, sure, I guess. That's when student retention becomes a fucking thing, where the instructor's sitting there like, yeah, but they really want to know how to do the pterodactyl ride. Maybe I should teach that this month.
Right. What?
Fuck right off. I don't have to do anything. First off, I'm not your friend. I'm here to show something that I care about. And if you like it, you can be in the room with me. If you want to do something you like, fuck off. I'll lose students by making them walk backwards with a book on their head. I will gain 10 students and lose one. Like if you can understand how to distribute your weight from foot to foot so that book doesn't fall off your fucking head, I can teach you how to do an arm bar properly. There's a huge fucking lesson right there. And if you're not willing to put up with me for that lesson, you're not my student. No, you can go fuck around and find out over there. Have fun. You know, so how complicated you want to make shit, there's two roads on that one. One, you want to look smarter than you fucking are. And two, you really wanted to keep students. That's it.
Yeah. That's the hard balance. That's the hard balance for many. You know, for many out there, you know, making money versus doing what needs to get done, and that struggle without much structure or past knowledge, you know, that's the hard one for many out there. That's the hard one.
Yeah.
Listen, you've been around the block for many, many years, and we've been at this for over an hour, but I don't want to take a lot of your time, but you've been around this block for a long time. You've trained and studied under and talked and interacted with many big names. Some of them drop some names here, Rickson, Pedro Sauer, and so on. I mean, those are legends. What would be the biggest one single lesson that you learned under all of these guys?
Hip escape.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
The fucking hip escape.
This is where we should end this.
Yeah.
Solid question for a solid interview. Interview. Me just shitting and talking.
That's all right. Dude, listen. So back to Arizona for a minute.
Just to level this out. Just to level this out.
Yeah.
Listen, before we wrap this up, what we do end of every episode, we have a question for you from a previous guest. And that guy's been around the block for quite a bit. Fabio Santos.
Who he is.
Yeah, Fabio Santos. You probably know him. He asked that question, but he didn't know you're gonna answer it. So he asked the question completely in blind. Gary's gonna take a lead on this.
Yeah, and I think we might have. People are going to know what direction you're going to head as soon as I ask this. But Fabio Santos's question is, what do you think of the lack of self-defense in today's sport jiu-jitsu?
Thank you, Fabio.
Yeah. You can keep that as long and as short as you like.
Fucking hip escape. The lack of self-defense. I think self-defense is jiu-jitsu. And that's what's gotten lost so hard. Because Rickson had this wonderful shirt that said, if you don't know self-defense, you don't know jiu-jitsu. And it's like this black and white fucking statement. And I have a ton of sport friends, like tons of sport friends. And they shit on it. Every time I was like, you don't know self-defense. And then I'd slap them. You know, they'd give them a slap in the cheek. Like, fuck. Like, no, you don't. You don't. You don't understand the control of the middle. You don't understand how to cheat. The whole point of self-defense is learning how to cheat. That's what it is. There's no nice sugarcoating on top of it. Self-defense is learning how to not have to be an athlete to win. If I have to wake up and do a Rocky montage to win a fight, that was my choice. That's a game. Self-defense is understanding situational awareness, is understanding verbal de-escalation, is understanding control of the middle. Weight distribution and timing is a very important thing. There's a million things about self-defense that no one talks about at all, especially in jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu has become predominantly a beautiful game where people get to fuck around and pretend that they're the toughest person in the world. So that's awesome, until you get into a conflict. And that conflict doesn't involve anything to do with knee shield. And my son's crying. He knows. He's heard this.
He's
a million
Dad's
times.
at it. I've only been around for a year and a half. How many times have I heard this story?
Oh, my poor suffering wife.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, to make a short story, like, what do you think about the lack of self-defense? I think it is the death of an art. I think it is the birth of something completely different. It looks very similar, but it has nothing to do with what it was founded in. And I'm the old guy in the room that's like, yeah, we're new school shit. Like, some of it's good. Some of it's very useful. 99% of it is stupid shit. Stupid ass shit. If you start to roll every once in a while with the idea of, can this guy punch me? That's it. Your jiu-jitsu goes out the fucking door and you start to actually do what I care about. So I don't know, this week, whenever you're doing it, have your partner see if they can touch your ear. Touch your ear. Just touch your ear. Don't punch you. Don't do the little rabbit punch thing. Like, if you're really close, you can go like that a couple.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
His power went out.
Yep.
I bet you.
Yeah.
I bet you his power went out.
All right. So if you're familiar with Zoom, you know what that ding means. Chris's power didn't go out, but Zoom gave him the boot. And since we didn't get to wrap up like we usually do, I thought I would include the conversation from before we actually started the episode. So here's a little bit more of Chris and his wonderful sense of humor. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
Hold on. No, he cannot hear us. But that's because I'm not connected.
Come on.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear us?
Now we can. Hold on.
I'm a fucking professional. I got this.
Hold on a second.
Thanks for dressing up for us.
It is 4 a.m.
I heard. Yeah, I didn't know when Thomas told me we were doing this. I didn't realize.
First of all, before we even start, did you really
Ah.
wake up just for this, or this is your normal time of getting up?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Well, we appreciate it very much.
Well, we appreciate
I got a 1-year-old son, so sometimes I'm up at 4.
It happens.
Today would not have been one of those days. So,
well, thank you.
fuck.
I hope you got coffee in that in that mug.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Is the camera okay? Because I don't do this a lot, and I don't know if I'm supposed to have it like this.
No, that's perfect.
You're good. You're
Yeah,
good. You're actually
we're good.
phenomenal.
We're good.
You're actually phenomenal.
Okay.
Gary's going to walk you through this. I'm going to turn everything on, and then we can start the conversation.
Yeah, so just a quick
Sure.
couple things. Thomas leads the conversation. I'll jump in.
Recording
from time
in
to time.
progress.
Sorry, I did a thing. It says the recording's in progress.
We're good. We're good. What you see is the Zoom feed. We have different cameras, so the end product will look different. Very casual conversation. It can go in any direction. I know there's some things we want to touch on, but if we don't, that's fine. Wherever it takes us is great. I will cut a real introduction for you and edit that in later. Thomas and I will talk for just a minute, and then he will bring you in very casually into the conversation as well.
Sure.
After we say our Zoom goodbye, please don't hang up right away. Give us, if you can, just another minute or two to let you know what to expect from us after this. And then also, we got like one or two quick things to take care of. I'm sure because it's so early there, you're probably going to want to end this on time, which is, fine by us. But if we go a little long, that's cool too. Please don't be offended. My kids are at camp. The weather here is really bad. So I may be looking at my phone from time to time because oftentimes they cancel and send them home. But
That's okay.
I don't think it's going to happen today. It's not that bad. There's no like tornado watches or anything. It's just thunderstorms.
If there's a rude person around here, it's Gary. So
I am only rude to Thomas. I treat our guests well, but Thomas, on the other hand, he's my boss, so I got.
Whereabouts are you guys?
We're outside of Chicago, about a half an hour outside.
Oh,
so we both grew up in the city and then found ourselves in the suburbs as adults.
Nice.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Florida.
Okay.
And then I moved to Georgia, then to Australia. It's a shit show.
Everywhere. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I haven't stopped moving.
Well, wow. So we want to just kind of, in a nutshell, where are we going to go with this? One, we want to establish who you are. So we'll talk about your rough morning and all that, and we'll talk about your moving and a little bit of your history. You want to link this into jiu-jitsu. You have some history with Rickson. We'll talk about that, and just general philosophy of jiu-jitsu. And from there, typically, the conversation pivots into one or two directions, and we'll just freely flow it from there. Stories make the show. So if I know you have plenty of them, I know you love to share them, feel free to just let it rip. That's what truly makes the show. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, I have a tendency to open my fucking fat mouth.
I was watching. That's what we want.
Feel free to do it.
Yeah,
this is why we're here.
I watched some videos earlier and in preparation, and I was like, "Oh, this will. No matter what happens, this will be fun." So
sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. Our best episodes are with people. Outspoken people, so the reserved
like
people,
assholes.
kind of, the guys that have that facade that I don't know how to describe
that's me.
No, you let it fly.
Just nothing but facade on this.
So
I like this already.
Here we go. My favorite.
Leave this in the episode.
I'm recording. My favorite guests that we've had were Chris Howder and John Will. So if that matters to you, I think we'll be fine.
You got big shoes to fill.
Shit.
All right. So Thomas will give a hand clap. He and I will talk for just a minute, and then, like I said, he'll bring you in, and we'll get going. And we're starting a little early.
Let's get this going because
awesome.
I feel like you're missing. We missing part of the.
I'll tack it on the end.
All right, let's hit it. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.